Hey guys, it's Scott Payne. In this episode, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the PMBOK in 36 minutes. 36 minutes. That's all I need. Now, if you think that's crazy, it's a little crazy, let's be honest. But the way I got there was I got a message on the chat in my site the other day with somebody who was struggling. Luckily for them, my group coaching or my individual coaching call had canceled at that hour. I said, let's fire it up, brother. What do you got? He threw the question at me. He was just overwhelmed. You guys are probably overwhelmed. Exam was coming up. He needed to make things make sense. All the other classes that he had taken, I won't say the lady's name. It starts with 4 letters. You know who it is. That class had confused him. And then we sat down. You're going to see the video, my coaching call with him, boom, try to break everything down from beginning to end as fast as humanly possible in a way that he understood. Now, you get the benefit of that. Let's get right into the video. Enjoy it, and I'll see you on the other side. So the real question is this: how do hard-working project hustlers like us, who aren't afraid to put in the work, who invest in ourselves and our careers, how do we prepare for the PMP in a way that makes us battle ready for the onslaught of situational questions we know we'll face so that we can walk into the exam with confidence and walk out with the project respect we deserve? Now, I've been in your shoes and I've done it. Join me as I guide you step by step to your PMP success using the most innovative study practices and the best tools on the market. My name is Scott Payne, and welcome to PMP Exam Success Secrets. What's up, John? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, sweet. So my 8 o'clock coaching call canceled. Sorry for them. Lucky for you. So we met, 2 seconds ago. I want to answer the most pressing or most difficult PMP question that you have. What do you got? What would help you?
Well, that's a good question. But I am kind of trying to formulate the answer to that question, if you will.
Yeah.
My company put me through the RITA boot camp a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with the whole process. We're supposed to know that process chart. And I'm trying to figure out how to break that down into manageable pieces. And that was one of the things that attracted me about your program was the videos and the case study. Because I think with that, I'm trying to apply kind of like a real life scenario that like you put together to that process.
All right, sweet. So, dude, I know that we've only known each other for now it's 4 minutes. We're old friends. And so the problem that you're framing up, like fire hose came at you of information.
Right. Yeah.
What the heck do I do with this stuff now? What does it mean? Why am I doing it? All that stuff. Most common problem that I see people have. Most common problem. So what I've done is I've thought about it a lot, and I was in similarly you're in spot. I've said this story a billion times, but I was in your spot kind of where you were like, dude, I can't figure this stuff out. So I got to break it down. So case story is going to help you a ton as you read through that. But what I can do right now is the more and more I teach, the more and more I understand that the way we think about how these things flow through and the sections can help you understand it. So a lot of words. Let me frame something up. I'll walk you through all the flows top to bottom. I'm going to put a clock on myself to see how fast we can do this. Not to rush, but just to see if we can do this. I've never done this before. Stopwatch. So we're going to see if we can do it in under 15 minutes. All right. If I can do it, Rita couldn't do in 4 days in 15 minutes.
Right.
So big enough challenge. So, all right. So you can see my screen, yes or no?
I can see you, not a screen.
Okay, give me 1 second. I got to hit the right button.
Yeah. Sorry, my voice is all messed up today. So,
dude, why are you apologizing? Why are you apologizing?
it drives me nuts.
I thought it sounded gravelly and distinguished, honestly.
There you go.
There you go.
I can see your screen now.
All right, sweet. So you see how this is, we're going to do like a little something. I'll put it on a PowerPoint so that I can draw on it. So that thing is the PM1 view. That's like my partner is a super genius when it comes to computers. And he said, hey, man, I see you flipping around your book and flipping around stuff all the time. Let me make something for you real quick that'll help you out. And I said, sweet, lay it on me. And let me show you what this does real quick. So like you get this initiating versus all this stuff, knowledge area process group thing, and you're like, hey, I want to try to understand stuff. And so you're like, I don't know what the deal with validate scope is. So instead of flipping through the book, you can just pop it up, bounce around. And so it's a real good way to like quality metrics. Where do those go? And you chase them around and stuff. So what I'm going to do, so that's just like for everybody out there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, all right, I'm going to explain everything to you. The world is relatively simple. Project management or PMP is just a realization of what you do in managed projects. Do you manage projects or work on projects for a living or anything?
Yep.
Sweet. So the first thing we know is that you got to get in your brain is that the way in which the PMP lays this out and the way we got to think about it to help us is that there are 49 processes here. And I want you to think of them as 49 little factories. Like if we ran a conglomerate or something, we got 49 factories. They all have a purpose. They all have happy, healthy people that go inside of them that do work and want to feel fulfilled in their life. So they got to have a reason for living. And they all do. And so as we go through and start to understand the reason why each one of these babies lives, if we take that perspective instead of memorizing the inputs, outputs, etc., then we can start to understand like how they play in the game. So in reality, I'm just going to walk through a couple different layers of this. There's just a few sections that you have to understand, okay? There is the plans. Now, when we think about plans, if we're thinking about like 49 totals.
Yep.
Like, look how many, like, I'm almost running out of yellow ink. Like, that's like 10 plans, right?
Yep.
So 10 of 49 are the plans. And then in your words, how would you define what the plans are in the PMP world?
That's how you're going to get things done.
Is it how you're going to do things, or is it how you do the things that do the things to get to do the things to get to do things done?
Well, the plan is how we're going to do the things to get it done.
Okay, cool. So really, like, one of the things, like when we think about plans, like just for clarity for some people, like these are, I'm not a computer guy, but the way I think about these, all these plans, is these are the source code, or these are like the instruction manual for like someone coming in to say, this is how we're going to operate in the knowledge area.
Right.
So it's just saying like, yo, in scope, this is how we're going to do the business. We're going to go through these 5 processes. This is what happens if we mess up the scope. We're not going to extend the scope, all those things. So source plans here, like really outside of that, as far as these 10 processes, there's not much else. Each of them come in with some basic information based on the rest of the project. You do some analysis and some formulating, bring some people together, and then you create a plan. That's it. Yeah. So, I mean, so we've just knocked out 10 of 49, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, it's stupid. Like, and then the next thing we go is, all right, so there has to be some meat in here. Now, let me see. I think I just turned my pen off. The big places that we want to focus are right here, right here, right here, and right here. Those are our big, like, that's where a lot of questions come from.
Yeah.
Emanate from those things. And what is created in these 1, 2, 3 right here?
The project plan and the plan for the project, the sequencing and the costs, basically the roadmap to get the project done and the cost to get it.
Yeah, in a sense, like, so the big plan, like, hey, how we're going to operate everything is done up here at the top, 4.2. And then inside of here, the thing you got to realize is the reason why we're doing this 5.2 to 5.4 is, hey, what are we going to accomplish in this project? And it goes to what's the word for the 3 things that are the foundation of our project?
The work breakdown structure.
Getting closer. It's like, it's 8 letters long, ends in an E, starts in a B. The middle is some other letters. Come on, dude. B blank, 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 E. Baseline.
Baseline, okay.
There you go. So, like, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to establish baselines. Like, and those baselines mean, like, we could do a ton of stuff. We could spend a ton of money, but let's really get specific about scope. And this is scope world, cost, or no, this is schedule. Sorry, I don't even know. That's a backwards S. And cost, right? That's what we're doing. We're trying to establish baselines there. All right. So that's the big point at the beginning of the project. Baselines. All right. So these three processes work you into developing those baselines.
Right. Okay.
All right. Now, all right. So this last section, we'll talk about how those things flow through. So all you need to know is here's the output of these big ones is the top one is our scope baseline, which is made of three things.
Right.
Our scope baseline, our work breakdown structure, and what's the third thing?
The requirements.
Close. Work breakdown structure dictionary.
Oh, the dictionary. Yeah.
No, I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. It's no big deal. So this is where we get our scope baseline right up here. Then our schedule baseline is right here, right down to 6.5, and our cost baseline is right here. So that says like, yo, these are the rules of the road. This is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. Now, the one more thing that we're going to do in this planning world is we're going to estimate how much people we need and how many resources we need. Right. That just kind of goes along with like, hey, what work are we going to do? What's the schedule? What's it going to cost? Like, oh God, you can't use this Cadillac to move your stuff. You got to use this old jalopy because like the, costs less, right?
Right. Yeah.
You got to get that's kind of logical. Then the last thing is these risks. Like if you make these plans and you never think about like the ways it could explode, then it's more likely that the project will explode in the future.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So the way to think about these risks, and we'll walk through this, is to think about them like a funnel. All right. That's a pretty crude funnel. And there are 4 risks processes. Now, like if you and I were running a project and we didn't know any of the risks, what would be the first thing that you and I do just to kind of get the risk game going? What would we do in a room?
Brainstorm.
Yeah, we brainstorm, right? So we'd say like, what kind of risk you think? Well, I think it's going to blah, blah, blah. And I'd say it's something else. And so the first thing we do is we go, let's brainstorm.
Yeah.
Let's throw everything at the wall and just write it down. I hate this little written thing. So hard to write. Brainstorm. And then we go, well, so you want to plan for all that stuff? Like we got a list of 750 things and you put stub your toe on there. I don't want to plan for stub your toe. So like, how do we make sense of this crazy brainstorm?
We figure out what the likelihood of it occurring is.
Yeah. So we go like, well, let's just take a rough swag at this thing. And like, you think it's high and it hurts us a lot. Like stubbing your toe is not a big deal. Like, so then we take a rough swag and that's qualitative, non-numbers based analysis. Like, so then we do qualitative. The list goes down. Some things fall off, but some things pop to the top. It's like cream,
Right.
And then the next thing we go is, now that we know that cream exists, let's do some math. Let's figure out what the real impact is, like what the likelihood is, what we can do about it. And then that'll like sort the cream in a sense.
Sure. Yeah.
And then that'll get like the heavy cream and the light cream. And so in the milk sense. And so that's our quantitative. Let's bring some numbers into it. And then once we know that, we can say, based on all this profile of all our numbers, we can create a risk profile for the entire thing that say, if all these things happened, it would cost us $1 jillion. If none of these things happen, it would cost us $0 and something in between. So we'll have like a risk profile.
Yeah.
Like for the project. And then the last thing is we go, these super high cream, these ones at the top, let's plan for those and let's get like specific about when they happen, what we're going to do. And that's all we do in the plan risk responses down here. So they just made it fancy words for something that in your brain that's really easy.
Right. Yeah.
Throw it at the wall, sort it again, figure it out, make sure you're ready when the iceberg hits.
Right.
So sweet. So now I can explain, I'll come back and explain how to think about these things. But right now we've gone through initiating, which is just kick the project off. I kind of skipped that one. Kick it off, and then, get everybody involved. Start doing that brainstorm. Who's involved? Who's affected? Not just who we want to be affected, who's affected. Right. So we're through like almost 50% of the exam at this point. Like, I know it sounds simple, but that's what we're through. Now, we have baselines. Let me clear the whole screen. Do the guys know what work to do?
Not yet.
Not yet. What? Well, they don't know after the scope, but after the schedule, like technically, like
Yeah.
here's where they know what to do, right?
Right.
Now,
Right.
where is the process where the people who actually do the work, if these are the 49 little factories, what process is that?
The executing.
Okay, yeah, you're in the right neighborhood. Which process underneath it?
Let's see.
There's only like 10 to choose from, so you got one.
Yeah.
It's not managed quality.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that one. Well, what the question is, what of these elements is the team actually doing the work in?
Correct. That is correct. That's better frame.
Yeah, I was thinking direct and managed work, but that's.
Don't overthink things in life.
Okay.
That is where it happens. So
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's where the work happens. Like, so if we, the way I see it is like, all these other people plan and do all this other stuff, but these dudes are the actual factory workers that are doing your work.
Right. Yep.
Right. So, so they take the schedule that comes from here and that gets delivered. Because the thing I said about these 49 processes is they don't talk to each other. They can't talk to each other. The windows are blocked out and the doors are locked. It's a fire hazard, but that's life. And so the only way it communicates is like by one of those tubes like at the bank where you put something in and it goes,
Sure. Yep.
whatever. So this little tube of information with our schedule goes up to these dudes. And they wait by that little tube and they go, all right, here's our scroll of stuff we got to do. Let's knock it out. We do work. They plan work. We work for a living. They just goof off. And so that's where the work happens. Now, anytime that work happens, in the PMP world, what is generated, do you think? Like, what's the result?
The deliverable.
There you go. So deliverables, right? So, yeah, deliverables is our big output. Now, they come out here. They get their little tube of deliverables, goes out. Now, where did the deliverables go? Like, what happens then?
Well, I mean, are we skipping over the quality step, or are we talking? I mean, you got to make sure that it's meets the requirements.
Oh yeah. So let's think about that. Like, so let's go in executing. Like, while the work's happening and these dudes are doing their work, they're just like workers. So they just want to grind through stuff, and maybe they'll cut some corners. Who knows? Because the end really mean is what's all about.
Yep.
Who are the people that like check them to make sure that like things are kosher and stuff, that they're not cutting their fingers off and stuff?
Well, the monitor and control work, and then validate scope, I would think would be the two.
Well, that's like after the work gets done. So these dudes over here, monitor and control scope, or control quality and validate scope. Those are the deliverable receivers. These dudes over here in manage quality, they come into the plant and they go, all right, workers, what are you doing? Let me watch you do your work. Let me make sure you're following this checklist. Let me make sure that the stuff meets the spec standards that we set. So those are the people that are doing the checkup on these worker guys.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that's cool. And then, if we think about this group right here is where we're pulling in the people, because we have a ragtag team right now, but we have to like, hey, we got a lot of work coming. We need to build our team. We need to keep them happy. And so right down here, we're negotiating with people. Hey, I need 20 of your guys. Can you give them to me for 2 months or whatever? And then we're saying, well, half of these guys are trained, half of them aren't trained, etc. This is where that's happening. 9.4. We're saying, let's get these guys, let's turn this ragtag group of guys into an army. And then we're saying, like, let me just check them to see if everybody's putting their time cards in on time, make sure everybody's happy, they're communicating, and that I'm developing them as the project manager through that Tuckman ladder thing. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the Tuckman ladder is?
No.
Neither do I. No, I do. So basically it's saying, like, when you get a team in, there's like this model, this dude or dudette named Tuckman invented this thing that says that when you get the team together, it's basically like you just form them together and they're just a bunch of individuals. So they're like not really working together. You're not getting a lot done. Then once you like push them to like, hey guys, you got to work together, you got to talk together, it goes to storming. So it goes from ground floor, forming, storming, That's when they're like, yeah, I guess I'll work with John. I mean, like, he's not so bad, but I don't trust him or anything. Like, he's not cool. And so they go storming where it's kind of rough. And then it's norming. You're like, John, we've been working together for like 2 weeks. You're not as bad as I thought you were. Like, you're not great, but you're not as bad. And so you're like, we start to kind of trust each other and we work together a little bit. And then after a month and we do some like tough things together and we kind of band together and, you know, find solutions, see respect and all that stuff. Then we become performing. All this stuff is just to introduce you. I said I only have 15 minutes, so I got to go fast. Performing, and then we're like a Swiss watch. We're working together like crazy. And then the last thing is we think we're going to work together forever. Everything's going great. And then we say project's over. We're adjourning, which that's the worst word in the world. And that's just like, it does rhyme. So that's the key to it.
That's why they picked it.
That's why they picked it. That just means, hey, man, we're going to work together forever. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. We never see each other.
Yeah.
That's just all. So that's what the 5 stages: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. And then let me just get my eraser. All right. So we have had the people do the work at the top. We have the people checking on the work right here. We have the people, we're developing our team right here. And then, so remember how we said none of this stuff goes outside the world of these little factories unless somebody specifically sends a message through an output?
Yeah.
These are the dudes that do that. This is your New York Times, Fox News, Huffington Post, whatever you want to call it. This is your communications people. Like they are ticker taping to everybody to say, I got all this information from people. I'm going to disseminate it to people. All right. They're the only people relatively that communicate. Now, who do they communicate to, you think?
The stakeholders.
There you go. So when we think about this one, communication and stakeholders, these boys are twins, brothers, cousins, whatever you want to call them. That's like when we think about, I can't see my screen because this thing's getting in the way. Oh, there you go. We identify stakeholders, we plan for them. We're basically saying like, hey, I need John as a stakeholder to be, he's resistant right now. I need him to be on my side. So what am I going to do? Talk to him, whatever. And then I'm going to keep him that way and push him that way by this managed communication. So that managed communication, all these communications go out and go like to these stakeholders and say like, hey, John, I'm giving you exactly what you need when you need it. Things are going good, but I need your help. You play a big part in this, blah, blah, blah. Those things play together really well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that pushes all these things through. So, and then, all right. So then we, you know, at this point, we have all the work that we wanted to do. We got all that stuff. We know that communications, we're checking our work. We're developing our team. We're communicating to our stakeholders. We're pushing them through. But like, you remember we did all that junk with risks?
Yeah.
Like occasionally icebergs will come in front of us and we'll go like, yo, iceberg, like do something. And the way to think about that is, remember in elementary school or middle school, they had those like fire alarm things on the wall?
Sure.
Where, like, you break the glass. I never did it. It was so scary. I was like, well, you're going to cut yourself while you have a fire. You're going to be bleeding in a fire. And so like you were to break it and I assume you pull the lever. Well, really the way to think about the risk response is you got a wall full of those little fire alarms. You see the iceberg, you crack the iceberg one, you pull out this scroll. It says your risk response, steer left. All right, sweet. Thanks for that. You steer left. And then also it has a $20 bill stapled to it. And that $20 bill is your payment, what you got to pay to do that risk response.
Right.
So that's where this happens. Implement risk responses. Now that $20 bill that's attached to that thing, that risk response, what kind of money is that? Like there's like
contingency.
There you go. Yeah. Contingency reserve. And that's within or above the baseline. Which side?
It's above it.
No, you were doing so good. It's below. I'm just joking, dude. All right, so think about it this way. This is our baseline.
Yeah.
That thing right there. Now we have the stack up of all our individual tasks and stuff. Those go there. And really those go up to like a certain level, like right here. Right. That's just like our activities. That's how it's going to take the cost of money, whatever. Oh, that's a terrible drawing. Then we got this little extra. And we go, hey, it rains a lot. So bad news is coming. We just don't know how much and whatever. So let's lay out a contingency reserve right here to say we're laying that cash to the side. All our fire alarms are along the wall. The money's there. We don't have to use it, but if we need it, we got it. That's our fire alarm money right there. That's contingency reserve. And then this is the baseline. And then on top, what's the other type of reserve that we have relatively allocated?
I have no idea.
Well, it ends in reserve, and it starts with M. And
management.
There you go. Management reserve. So that's on top. And what kind, if these contingency reserves are, this is a weird one that always messes me up. Make sure I get it right. Known unknowns. So that means we know the iceberg's coming. We just don't know when it gets here. Or if it might got to warm this week, global warming and such, and it might not be there. But what are these management reserves? I don't know why I said MG. Management reserves. What are those? If this is known, unknown, what are those defined as? Rita, don't let me down. Rita's done let me down. No, it's okay. Unknown unknowns.
Okay.
We don't know there's icebergs, and we don't know they're coming. So we just throw a bunch of money out there to say we got management reserves to hit us when the earthquake hits that we never expected. Okay, so this is baseline. We add a little bit of management reserve to it, and we call that the budget.
Right.
That's the big budget, right? So that's how that breaks down.
Okay. That helps, actually.
That's my goal in life. And so let me see if I can erase all that junk. And we're getting there. So cool. So now we know that these we're hitting these things on the wall. Boom. We are using our money, which is contingency reserve, not management reserve. Or if bad news happens, we'll use that management reserve. And then the last thing that we do here, if we can't do all the work ourselves, we go out and do the procurements.
Right.
You know, actually execute the contracts. But all right, so now I'm a little over on time, but it's okay. I'm breaking down 35 hours in 25 minutes, so it's no big deal. Yeah, so we're doing the work up here. The deliverables go where? Where did we say the deliverables go? I didn't say
I tried to put them in validate scope, but you didn't like that.
I did not like that. I did not like it at all. Because our internal people check the quality of how we're doing the work. Like, you know, using the right kind of bits on the drills, using these things, following our processes, doing quality audits, doing all those things. They're checking how we're doing the work. We need somebody now to check that the work is actually right. Like, if say we're producing like, we're making a ship, like the specific parts of, they build them modularly. Like I just met with Shipyard yesterday. Like they build a chunk of the ship. They got to go and look and make sure that like the angles are right, the welds are good, like all the pieces are in there, all that stuff. That's where this stuff happens.
Right.
Quality. And we do that internally, not customer. Customer's not involved. We're checking it. Let's check it before it gets outside.
Sure.
And then like there's cost of conformance and cost of non-conformance. Those are terms that you need to know. Conformance would mean all the work we do in-house while it's still in the factory in a sense to make things right.
Okay.
The non-conformance is all that outside stuff. I sent something to the customer. It didn't work. Oh God, I got to ship it back. I got to re-weld. I got to do all this stuff. I got to buy new whatever. And I lose space. Yeah. Not good. So right here, coming into this world, we get the deliverables. They do all that checks for like that the ship is made correctly. The product is good. Now, when it goes through this control quality, what does that deliverable become? Like a little word jumps onto the front of deliverable. It's either verified or accepted at that point. Which one do you want?
Verified.
That's right. You guessed, but it's right. You might have not guessed. So like verified deliverable, VD, don't read into it. Like, so it becomes a verified deliverable. Then that thing floats up to here and it becomes, or these people look at it in a different way. This is a different group. This is like we bring the customer in. Hey man, everything's been running smooth. It's all great. I love it all, blah, blah, blah. Like take a look at this deliverable. You're going to love it. Look at your list of things you wanted from us. Let's go through point by point, make sure it's cool. If they say yes, it's good, it becomes an accepted deliverable. So it goes deliverable, verified deliverable, accepted deliverable.
Okay. Yep.
That's cool. The way I remember verified and accepted, because I was getting them flipped. What is the hospital where military people go to? What's the name of it in general? Any idea?
No.
Okay.
The
cool.
VA. Oh yeah, the VA.
VA. So I just think like, oh, VA, VA. So it keeps it organized in my brain.
I got you. Yeah, good.
Stupid little tricks. The world's full of them. So, so really what we're doing here is we got an accepted deliverable. If it's kosher, everything's good. That deliverable floats right to here.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Now, what would happen if it's not good, either at right here or right here? What would we generate at that point, most likely?
Change request.
There you go. And change request, anytime something affects one of these baselines over to the planning side, we do a change request. So let's just play the game here that we say, oops, something goes off bad. We do a change request. I'm going to erase this to make it a little cleaner. Oh, we're going to erase everything. And okay, so we're just going to play the bad news game. Bad comes, and this change request goes to right here. Perform integrated change control. That's just where the change requests go. And change requests can be generated by basically all these processes right here. And right here. All right, so the way to think about change request is if you're working in this little factory, you know that these people need specific direction. You write down on a piece of paper to say, this is messed up. This is why it matters. This is what I want to do about it. This is how much it costs. Please make this decision, sir and ma'am.
Yep.
You send that up there. These dudes evaluate that and go yes or no. Send you back an email to say, you got a winner here. And then they say it goes from regular change request to approved change request. Approved. You can't read this. Change request. And then where does that thing, like at that point when they go stamp, we got to think that like automatically, magically, the baselines change. It's just magic. I don't know how it happens. It's just magic. Like the baselines change. But at this point, do the dudes that do the work, do they have the information they need to implement that change request? Yes or no?
I would think so.
Right. But I mean, like the only magic that happens in this process is when you hit that button to say, I approve my change request. I know you don't, that's the only time that something magical happens where like the baselines automatically update. In this example, that approved change request has got to flow. They got to send in their little tube back to these worker guys who get it out of their tube and say, damn it, new rules. All right, whatever.
Right. Redo. Yep.
Redo. Thanks. Thanks, guys. All right, so that approved change request goes there. Now, when work, okay, so that's how things flow through. They either go from deliverables to close or they go through here, and then what happens there? They get produced, they go through the same cycle again. They go here, they go here, and the cycle of life, like that Lion King movie, just goes forever, right?
Yep.
All right, so that's big flows. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is just bringing it all together. These go away. This will be a recording, don't worry. All right, so when we produce work, we produce deliverables. What else might we produce? Like some type of facts related to the work, you know what I'm saying? Those kind of things. So like out of work and a lot of these processes, I don't know, where's my little pointer? We're going to produce two things out of this. Work, or one thing, deliverables and work performance data. Work performance data. Now data, the way to think about it, data is just facts, like reams of data, like information. Hard to make sense of it, right? And so that data helps us inform like different decisions, but it's hard to make decisions off that stuff. So the people that make decisions off that stuff are these control people.
Okay.
Just like we had planning people, we got a bunch of control people, or monitor, same stuff, just different words. All these. So we got 10 credits over there. All these relatively 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those take all this rough data and say the work pumps out like a sheet or a book that's like this big. They only take their chapter that's related to their specific knowledge area. That they pull out, I don't care about the rest of the junk, throw it away. I only care about stuff related to scope, schedule, whatever. They do their analysis of it. Let's look at it. Let's make sense of it, either ahead or behind in schedule, scope, etc. And they come out, they do analysis in the middle. A, make it bigger. And then out, that data becomes what? Work performance what?
Data.
Can't be the same thing on both sides.
Documents.
Getting closer.
Information.
There you go. I was worried on a lot of things. Could he see it? Could he read it? Like, I don't know. Like, so.
I want you to spell the whole word.
I know. Thank you for destroying. Okay, cool. So it becomes work performance information. And that information is different than data. Data is just a ream of data thing.
Right. It's a bunch of facts and
information is like, oh, now I see. And so let's think like logically. If we ran this 49 factory game, we wouldn't want this guy, all sending emails to say, schedule's great, cost is screwed. Cost is good, schedule's screwed. Like, we don't want confusing the masses, right?
Right.
We want a clear message. So they give their like little summary of work performance information, and we tell them, hey guys, love you, you do a good job. Do not send it to everybody. Send it up to this dude up here who's like our mastermind thinker guy.
Right.
Sponsor control project work. He takes all those analyses and goes, I'll see the forest for the trees. We're behind in schedule. We're behind in cost. We're ahead in whatever. He creates an overall summary.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pumps out what we call a work performance report, which is just like the summary.
Right.
All those things. But at this point, only he knows that. No one else knows about it. So if we needed to get that information out to the world, where would we go?
Managed communication.
Dude, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then that thing would go, send it out on Telegram or whatever, and it would go to our stakeholders and our team and all the rest of the stuff. And so that cycle of, I call it information cycle, that cycle flows through continuously. And we get feedback to say like, oh, your project's behind, like what can we do to help from stakeholders, et cetera. So it keeps that flow going. So basically all these little guys look with their little rose-colored glasses, the peach-colored glasses, the lime-colored glasses, whatever color glasses they have, flows up here, flows, they create the report, goes to here, they send it out across the internets, and then these people say, thanks for sending it to us. I'm really supporting what you guys do.
No, this has been great. Hey, Scott, all
right, cool.
I gotta jump to, but this really helped me a lot.
Dude, you're going to see this. Oh, yeah, John, anytime, any questions you have, and anybody out there who's watching this, any questions you have, go enjoy your meeting. Talk to you later, man.
All right, thanks.
Anytime. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I know that when I was studying for the PMP, it was really, really hard to find one good source that would guide me from the beginning to the end and that would speak to me in a language that I understood. No mumbo jumbo, no jargon, just something that I could work with. That is why this podcast exists. Now, if we are making a difference in your life, if we're helping you, let's do something bigger, you and I. Let's share it. Let's find somebody else. Why don't you find somebody else that you could share this podcast with so we can extend our reach, you and I. We can help them, all right? And if you want to continue to learn, if you want to continue to go farther, come to pmmasterprep.com/free. We have awesome free resources that are going to take your study skills, boom, to the next level. So go check it out right now. Go to pmmasterprep.com/free. Get all the stuff that I'm dropping on you. New stuff all the time. So go check it out, and I'll see you there.